Hi guys, so tonight we're gonna do a quick tutorial on how to make the domino necklaces. Just like this one here, you've probably seen them in a couple different places, and I got some requests for a tutorial. Super easy. All of the supplies were already listed for you, so if you have all your stuff together, then let's just get started. So the first thing that I did, and move this out of the way, is I made myself a little template. So you take your little dominoes, and you're going to want to drill a hole. I don't know how well you can see, but there's a little hole there. Using any small drill bit will work just fine. I used a cordless drill on this. It's not hard to get through at all. And then I made myself a little template, and I made this out of that hard plastic that comes in packaging, just so that when I place it on my picture, I can figure out exactly where I want my domino picture to be. So you can move it around and put it wherever, and then just trace around your little pattern and then cut it out. So we'll just cut this one out real quick. This is I'm using a lady's diary for this one. One of the pictures from that. Graphics 45 paper, one of my favorites. After you have cut out your template, then you're going to want to kind of size it up and make sure that you've got it cut exactly the way you want it. You usually have to trim it down just a little bit. My template's a tiny bit bigger. So there. And there it is. So the next thing you're going to want to do is, if you're going to do any distressing to your picture, you're going to want to do it before you attach it. So I just kind of go around the edges, and I'm using the vintage photo, the Tim Holtz Distress ink, just to kind of give it a little bit of dimension on the outside. Then glossy accents. This stuff is my favorite thing to play with. So all you need is a small amount, and it's going to go right on the domino. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the domino, and you're just going to kind of put just a little bit on the bottom, just kind of like glue, and then you want to line it up and glue it on. And what I like to do is kind of squish it down really good. I use a paper towel, and that's just to get out anything that's underneath and make sure it adheres really well. And it takes a while for it to dry. Not too long though. It should only maybe 10 minutes and this will be dry. So you just make sure it's down really good, like this. You see that? And then just set it aside. Let that dry. These ones I've already put on so that we can move a little bit quicker. And I'm going to show you with the glossy accents on this one. This is a little picture of my daughter, and I just printed it out on cardstock, so nothing special. And all you're going to do with this is you want to take the glossy accents like this, and you just want to kind of go all over the top, but rather thick. Well, not super thick, but you're just going to cover the whole thing. Just back and forth. And any place that you miss, you can go back and add, because this one here is going to take a while to dry. This isn't a quick one. I would let it sit for at least an hour, then check on it, and then after an hour you can, see how much longer you need. But typically on these great big ones, I usually do a whole bunch of them, and then I go to bed. And then when I get up in the morning, I can start doing all my embellishing and putting my chains on and all that good stuff. Now as you can see, I'm using it right over the top of the photo. I haven't done any prep work to this photo because I'm doing it on cardstock, and I used an ink laser printer. So it's not going to smear or run or have any problems. If you're going to use photo paper, or if you're going to like take an old photograph or something like that, I would scan it and use cardstock. Because I've tried to do this using photo paper and the ink just smears right off of it, even when I try to put something over it to try to, you know, seal it in. Following different tutorials that I saw, and none of them worked. It still smeared. And this, when I print them out on cardstock, I have no problem at all. So here it is. Now it's all covered, and it's going to be kind of like that white looking film. You'll know when it's starting to dry because it'll turn clear. Very, very crystal clear. The other thing that you're going to notice with this is if you see any little bubbles, you just go in with like a needle and poke out the bubbles before it dries, or those bubbles will be in there forever. So anywhere you see a bubble, just poke it out with the needle. Then when it's drying, you need to make sure it's in a very flat area, because it'll run if you don't. So I'm going to set this aside so that it can dry. And then as you can see on this one is done with the glossy accents, and you see it's real clear, and you can see the picture real well underneath. That's how that one will turn out. Now for the other two, what I did was, if you're going to be only doing a couple of necklaces, then you know the glossy accents will work fine. But if you're going to be doing a lot of necklaces, like you have a lot of people that you want to make them for, then you might want to go to something not quite as expensive, because this stuff is, well, it cost me about $8 a bottle, and you can see how I've used quite a bit of it. And if you do a lot of Dominoes, you're probably going to go through quite a lot of it. So the other option is this here. So this is ultra thick embossing enamel, and it's if you put it in that melting pot, it'll turn into goo. But the way that we're going to use it is we're going to get any one of these embossing pads. It doesn't matter. As far as I've noticed, it doesn't matter. But this one is by Ranger, and it's tinted, so I can see where it ends up. And then I poured a jar of this into a bucket, and the reason for that is once you'll see. It's just easier to show you. So that's filthy. I'm just going to open this up, and the first thing you do is you're going to want to get this and just kind of rub it all over this, because you want it to be, and you see, as you can see on it, you can see where it is. There we go. So now it's covered in this. This next part is very important. You're going to need a pair of pliers, which I told you in the what to get, but this is why. And you're going to hold on to it with the pliers, because this stuff is going to require 3 layers of this. So if you just put it on like this, and then you can just tap it off, and then take your embossing gun or your heat gun, if you don't do it this way, it's very hot. You'll burn your fingers very quickly. You can see it's starting to melt. Once your gun actually heats up, it won't take as long to melt the next couple layers, but mine's been off for a while. You're going to need to do at least 3 layers of this in order for it to be smooth. Otherwise, the first layer, the second layer will be kind of pitted and cracked looking, which you can stop there if that's the look that you're going for. But if you want a nice, smooth, even one, you're going to need to do at least 3 layers. So there's layer number 1 completed. Okay. quickly, you're going to need to go back and layer it on again before it cools. But if you're not quick, or something happens, or something comes up, all you gotta do is reheat it, and it'll. Move that out of the way. And do it again. See how quick it goes after the first time. Okay, and one more layer will do, hopefully. I'm doing it this at a weird angle, so I can't see as well as I would like to be able to. So I'm going to have to move it closer to me in a minute. Still looks kind of pitted to me. I think it's because I don't have enough on there. Every time I flip it over, it's not holding enough, especially on the bottom. So this time I'm going to leave a little bit more of it on there. That's better. And don't worry about what goes over the edges. You'll see how to fix that. It's real easy. That one looks better. So there it is, and it's very hot. So once you're finished with it, you just set it off to the side and let it dry. It doesn't take very long to cool, and if after it's all cooled down you still don't like the way it looks, or you think it needs another layer, just heat it up again and put more. It's real easy to do.